Hey guys, we have a follow-up interview with Nicholas Spinosa. If you remember, about 2 months back, we interviewed Nick, who had just graduated from the Hack Reactor Bootcamp. He's now since been hired by Bank of America as a developer, working in New York, doing quite well for himself. We talk about how he negotiated his salary, what sort of salary he got, what type of interviews, what the interview process was, what he's learned in work versus learning in boot camp, and what maybe the biggest gap was, and a bunch of other really great nuggets of info. That's kind of awkward thing to say, but lots of great stuff. Hope you guys enjoy it. I know you will.
Code everything.
Hey, Dan, what's up?
Hey, sorry about that, man. I'm trying to learn Node and Express. I completely forgot, so I was just going at it.
No worries, dude. No worries.
I appreciate you taking the time, man.
Yeah, no problem at all. How you liking Node?
Dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. I use PHP at my work, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, I use Java at work, and I hate it. Node's so much better.
Yeah, I think I'm going to just learn the traditional mean stack in my off hours. I have to use PHP at work, but I don't do too much of it. I could see why people would give that shit up real quick for some Node.
Yeah. Node's just so simple. Like it's not easy per se, but it's simple, which is important.
And so last time we talked, you were in the middle of the grind, man. You were we were doing the interview from the kitchen, right, of a friend's house.
Yes.
So how have things been since then?
Well, things are significantly different. I've been at my job now for about a month. I think it was a month yesterday, and I have my own place. I'm in not New York, but Jersey City, which is a 20-minute train ride. So yeah, things are a lot different, and I'm making like 6 times what I was making before. So
yeah, so you were for people who maybe didn't see the first interview, which by the way you should go watch that one as well. But you were a chef before then.
Yeah, yep. I was working as a chef. A lot more work-life balance as a developer.
And we don't have to get into the exact amount, but what would you say the jump in pay was from a chef to a developer at Bank of America?
Oddly enough, it's literally exactly 6 times what I was making before. It's 6 figures, definitely within Hack Reactor's advertised median starting salary.
Yep, 6 times. I don't know if anybody heard that, but 6 times. Jeez, man. Good for you.
It's a big, oh man, I was like doing my budget now because I like just paid my first month's rent. And I was like, oh wow, I could actually like save money. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you know what? I guess I can eat more than just rice and beans this month. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's so great. I just interviewed a guy, Chris Sean, who's just getting started his YouTube channel, but he got his first developer job. And it's great to see how people are turning their lives around with code and like getting like really kind of going on to the next stage almost.
Yeah, it feels like I just graduated something. It's funny because all my friends from college are graduating in June with their comp sci degrees, and I got the job first.
Right? It's crazy because so I don't know if we went into it, but I actually stopped going to college. I'm debating if I want to go back or not, but I actually make more money than some of my friends who stayed in college and graduated. And it's kind of crazy because it really is on like the individual developer basis. Like, can you prove yourself? If so, there's a nice job out there for you.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I'm like helping my friends get ready to get jobs as well. I feel like you're not very job ready with a 4-year degree if you haven't like been doing stuff on the side. Like they might be like really good at Java, but they don't know like the build tools like Maven or Grundle or any frameworks like Spring or SQL or ORMs. And it's like that stuff is like 60% of what you do on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it's really cool if you can whip out like an awesome binary try, but you're just not doing it all the time.
And to talk about like, you don't really, being a former computer science student myself, you don't really have the time Like you have so much homework and so much bullshit to study for that you're never going to use. But you don't have the time to do those side projects. You don't have the time to study the things that are actually relevant or to go to hackathons and do all this cool stuff.
Yeah, it's like a trap, it seems. So yeah, I don't know what you do, but so, I can see just take the slightly lower job and then hopefully you make more than us.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you're a good developer though, right? Like if you go and you get your CS degree and you're a good developer, you're going to do good. But if you go to boot camp, you go self-taught, if you're a good developer and you market yourself well, you should get a good salary as long as you're looking, right?
Yeah, that's definitely an important thing to know. You really get what you get out what you put in. I think I mentioned last time about Hack Reactor that there seemed to be in my class like a clear divide between the upper students and like the lower students, and almost everyone is already hired. It's been like I think 2 months since I graduated or so, but everyone that I thought was very strong, we were all hired within like our first month. So hiring managers can know. They definitely know if you're good or if you're not after an interview. And the other thing is that interviewing is a skill in itself, like whiteboarding interviews, because a lot of that stuff is not actually what you do on a day-to-day basis. So even if you're getting ready to do your job, make sure that you're doing a toy problem, at least 1 or 2 every day, like Saturday and Sunday. Just do them all the time, because it's building a skill that you don't get from building side projects. You know, like talking through an algorithm, coming to a conclusion, optimizing, talking about extensibility, how something would scale across, bigger input sizes. Time and space complexity, big O notation. It's not stuff that you're thinking about all the time, especially like when you're writing code every day at work or if you're building side projects. So it's definitely a skill that you need to focus on building alone.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because it's as a junior developer, oftentimes they are looking for, they want that deep knowledge, but they also want the practical skills. But more than anything else, I feel like when you're really going for a junior role, they're looking for good communication, which isn't really associated with developers, because you're working with other junior developers, senior developers. Can we get along with this guy? It always seems to be the case that communication is key, and yet so few people focus on kind of those outside of the technical skill boxes.
Yeah, I was lucky to have good communication skills, especially from working as a chef. So it wasn't a problem for me, but there are so many people that have problems with those soft skills, and they're just as important as technical skills, maybe even more important, really, because if it takes you, like for example, if it takes programmer X twice the amount of time to learn something than programmer Y, but programmer X can explain it to the rest of the team much more efficiently, then he's still more valuable to the company because it's still a net time like saving. So communication skills are very, very valuable.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too where, so I'll give for today I got an email from a recruiter with an app that they think I should apply to, right? So this is I'm sure you get them all the time too, right?
I get like 2 every day. Once
right?
I turn my LinkedIn from looking for a job to having a job, it's like now all the recruiters want to give me a job.
Right. But one of the things that I've been seeing a lot more often on the apps are things focusing on communication, or things going like, the workplace, I hope you're okay playing ping pong and getting shot with Nerf guns and stuff like that. And the whole like getting shot with Nerf guns, what that's really saying to me is like, can you kind of relax? Can you be a good person to be around? Are you going to be someone nobody wants to fucking work with? If I shoot you with a Nerf gun, are you going to be like, motherfucker? Like, no one wants to work with that guy.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, you can probably get away with not having great soft skills right now. Mm-hmm. But in the future, especially as boot camps are getting more popular and people are realizing that you can self-teach your way into it, eventually it's not going to be as easy. And I don't want to say it's easy to get a job, but there's definitely way more jobs than there are developers. And eventually companies will have the luxury of hiring people who have better soft skills. And I'm willing to bet that will be the bar that gets raised before the technical bar gets raised. That's my insight anyway.
And I tend to agree. Like there will always be a technical standard, but like the jobs that they're sending me, like experience wise, I'm like halfway there. But they're like, nah, don't worry, you're golden if you apply. And so they're dying to have positions filled, and you have to have a little bit of knowledge and you have to be good, but you also need to be someone they can work with. Say, look, we can develop this guy into whoever we want.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially with the JavaScript ecosystem right now, where it feels like every other week there's a new library or a new build tool, and it almost doesn't matter what you know. It matters like what you can learn or how fast you can learn. So yeah, I definitely think soft skills and like your learning threshold, I guess, is what's most important.
So I'm trying to remember the exact amount you spent on Hack Reactor. It's like 14. There's 18,000.
17 something.
So 17 something, $17,000 sounds like a lot, but you just since then you got hired. How long did it take you to get hired?
Like let's see. I accepted the job. Well, I started on February 5th. I think I accepted the job like halfway through January. It's a big bank, so it takes a long time for onboarding.
How long since you graduated to job offer acceptance?
So I finished December 10th, so like a month and a half or so. But
Okay.
Christmas and New Year's was like in the middle of that, so it would have been shorter if it weren't for that, I think.
Nice. So 17,000 plus for the boot camp. 6 weeks later, you didn't double, didn't triple, 6 times your income. That is impressive.
Yeah. I quit my last day of work was March 22nd of last year, so in less than a year, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So what would be your advice to someone who's perhaps considering going to a boot camp?
So I said this before, but I want to reiterate: you really get out what you put in. So I really advise doing as much ahead of time as you can, because people have this fear, and I thought this as well, that the value of Bootcamp X is that they're going to teach me Y, but it's not that you're not going to learn something even if you know something going in. You're just going to get a deeper understanding, or you're going to get the opportunity to teach other people and help them learn, which is like a really good way to like cement your knowledge and learn how to talk about it too, because that's how you're going to do well in an interview. Is if you've talked about MongoDB for 6 weeks, then obviously you're going to be able to talk about it in an interview. But if you're a MongoDB wizard and you've never said anything, then you're not going to be as strong. So definitely do as much ahead of time as possible. I would really focus on some of the computer science fundamentals. Hack Reactors does a good job with it, but I know boot camps are sort of notoriously weak with data structures and algorithms. And there's tons of resources for it, so definitely learn them. Especially your BSTs, your hash tables, your linked lists. Know quick sort and merge sort. Be able to make a bubble sort joke. That's important for interviews.
Yeah. I always tell people the best thing you can do is have a joke in your interview. It's like if you can get somebody to laugh, because I really do think it's a matter of not only having some skills, but they will overlook the skills you don't have if they like you. I really do. So
oh yeah, for sure.
Go in there and make them laugh, and like if they do that, they're like, you know what? I like that guy. Let's give that guy a job.
Yeah, it's definitely the way it goes. Oh, and the other thing I would suggest if you're going to a JavaScript bootcamp, and again, I can really only speak to Hack Reactor, but for the most part, they ignored types because JavaScript is a dynamically typed language. But it will behoove you to learn types. One, it'll just make you a better developer. But two, if you can talk about what a lot of people will see as the flaw of JavaScript of being dynamically typed, and I used to not agree with that, but I definitely agree with it now. If you could talk intelligently about it and sort of the flaws to JavaScript development, especially like giant applications, and understanding what type languages do for development, that will also make you look really good even if you just have a conceptual understanding. Plus, of course, there's TypeScript, which is getting bigger. I really think it's going to be adopted in the React community, not just the Angular 2 community. So future-proof yourself. Also, if WebAssembly comes out, then for sure there will be typed languages in the web.
I like that you talk about future-proofing, because I was talking about this with my coworker the other day, and he's like, why are you learning Node? Why are you learning Express? Why are you, diving into React and Angular 2, all these things that we don't use? I'm like, because if shit goes south, I want to make sure I got a job tomorrow. And it's really important, especially as a web developer, right? So like we were just talking about JavaScript, something's new daily.
Yeah, you always have to keep learning. You can never stop learning unless you want to be like the people who are working in Fortran right now, or like standard Lisp, You don't want to be stuck with like super old technologies that are not going to be fun to work with, 10 years from now. And the more you know, the more you're going to get paid as well, if that's your motivation.
And very quickly as well, too. So, like, a lot of things, like, yeah, if you have 5 or 10, 15 years experience, you're probably going to get paid well no matter what. But if you're at 1 or 2, 3, 1 to those 5 years, and you want to get paid very quickly, you want to make $20,000 jumps every year, $10,000 jumps, you're going to have to learn the newer stuff because less people are going to know it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I really think that there is sort of a linear relationship to the stuff as opposed to the salary you get paid. Like, I know one of the reasons that I did as well as I did in my interview and in my negotiation was because I could display a passion for functional programming, and I'm just like a geek about it. But at least my boss really thinks that it's the future, and I do as well. So being able to talk about different programming paradigms, being able to compare, imperative programming and object-oriented programming or functional programming and the differences and how that affects architecture from a systemic level. That's the kind of stuff that'll set you apart from other bootcamp grads. And I know it's not focused a lot, but, take the time to learn it outside of the bootcamp, whether it's during your bootcamp or afterwards while you're in the job search. Because it's stuff like that makes you stand out, and that's really should be your goal when you're looking for your first job.
Now, you had mentioned the negotiation process. When it came down to you, did they send you an offer? You looked at it and you said, fuck yeah, I'll take that? Or how did it go down for you?
I mean, I looked at it and I said to myself, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to take this. But you never want to leave money on the table, and there's no, as far as I know, and what Hack Reactor told me, there's really not a situation where you're going to send someone an offer and then they're going to say, well, no, we're going to take, or you're going to, send someone a counter offer and they're going to be like, well, no, we'll take the offer off the table. The worst that happens is they're like, we don't really have that in our budget. And then you say, okay, I guess we can make the original offer work or something, So you always want to have that little give and take. And it certainly worked for me. And from what I understand, it's very common in the industry.
Yeah, it was something that I think I got paid fairly. I think I do get paid fairly well, but it was much more money than I was making at the time. I didn't have the balls to pull the trigger. And so,
yeah,
I wish I did, right? I wish I did, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about Hack Reactor is I had so much coaching with it, and I forget what they call her, but the outcomes coach, her name is Lena, is like a monster. She is so good, and she would like drill us a lot about negotiating. So I was like super prepared by the time I got there.
Now, that's something I didn't think about, how a boot camp would prepare you. We're always thinking about the technical skills and stuff like that, and like how to go and get a job. But negotiating wasn't something that occurred to me. And I mean, you could have, I don't know what you negotiated upwards of, but that could have paid for a good portion of your boot camp, I would imagine.
The price increase that I negotiated for paid for my boot camp completely. And it did that for a lot of my classmates. And a lot of them were able to negotiate were signing bonuses that just paid for their boot camp completely. I wasn't that lucky, but it's definitely possible if you're just really good at negotiating or just get a really good job.
Well, it goes down as well to being a prepared developer, right? At the end of the day, it's like, hey, I know I'm worth what I'm saying I'm worth. So give me, the $17,000+.
Yeah. Yep. And then the other thing, the sort of idea that I had as a developer or as a bootcamp person was that I wouldn't be like, I didn't really look at really cool companies like Snapchat or Facebook that I think of like as the epitome of like tech companies right now. But one of my good friends started at Snapchat like 2 weeks ago. So don't limit yourself to like your second-rate companies. Go ahead and just apply for everywhere that you want to work at and let them decide. Don't rule yourself out of anything. You know, there's enough people that are going to do that for you.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of people to hold you down. Don't hold yourself down, right?
Yeah.
Have you been, I know last time we talked, you were working on a blog. Have you been posting actively to it still?
I definitely neglected it for a while. After I got the job, I sort of took a break. But I'm getting back to it. I'm working on a post about TypeScript and defining the Haskell monads with the TypeScript type system. That should be really cool, and it's going to come out at the end of this week. So definitely look forward to that. Are you all right?
Yeah, I damn near kicked my headset off. So where can people go and find your blog?
It is just blog.nicholasspinosa.com, and I'll link it in the chat. I write mostly about JavaScript or other functional programming. So if you're into immutable data structures, monads, functors, applicative functors, higher order functions, or just like React, then that's the place.
Now that you've been working as a developer for 3-4 months now, and obviously you got prepared very well, but what was the one thing that you've you weren't expecting being an employed developer from someone who's just studying development?
As far as day-to-day work?
Yeah, just in general, whatever comes to mind.
Well, the thing that comes to mind for me, but I imagine this is only because I'm in like a huge enterprise, is that all of the red tape there is to like actually doing anything. I'm sure this is very different in startups or medium-sized companies, but in a big company like Bank of America, there's like a lot of forms to fill out to just like get Node installed, and there's a lot of like things that happen in the company that have nothing to do with you that will affect the work that you do. As far as what projects you're working on, like I had a project get scrapped like a week after I started, and now I'm like on a new one. So like there's stuff that happens that's out of your control, and for me the best thing to do is just I come into work every day and do the best I can with what they give me.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a, hey, I know you just spent X amount of days, but we decided we don't want to do that shit anymore. So jump onto this other thing.
Yeah, that's I mean it happens. It's sort of like they're competing solutions within the company from different teams, and a different team won. But it happens. The other thing I would suggest for day-to-day work is even if you specialized in like one framework, like say you're like a React guy, you need to know the ecosystem around like all of the frameworks and understand which one is better and what place. I mean, like I'm making decisions on what text to use, and I have sort of like full control over that. But I'm sure some people will not be in that position. But even if you're not, you want to be in that conversation. And the way you get there is by demonstrating that the impact that decisions like that will have on the app and extensibility in the future.
Nice. Now, any final thoughts for anybody you want to share anything with?
Code every single day. Just don't stop coding. Once you get your job, don't stop coding. Learn new things. Be like Dylan and learn Node when you're a PHP guy. And yeah, I think that's it. That's the most important thing.
I'm glad you said that, because I tell people all the time to code every day, and it's nice to hear other people agree with me. But no, it's the best thing you can do, really. It's a steady sort of climb to becoming good at code, and the daily grind is the best way.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really exponential. The more you learn, the easier it is to learn other things as well. Like I remember when I was first starting, and like struggling to understand the concept of an object like, a year ago. And now like it's nothing. So like they all build on each other. It's like a big snowball effect. So like, once you learn your first programming language, picking up another one is like easy because almost there's so much similarities. Jumping cross paradigm is more difficult, but going from Java to C# is like, it's nothing. And I also would encourage people to, if not learn, but look at different programming languages and understand the design decisions and how that impacts like your programming language of choice.
And I think that's a good thing. That's kind of something I've suggested before and people think it's kind of crazy. They're like, how can I become a better programmer? I want to, I'm doing the Codecademy and doing free Codecamp. I'm learning JavaScript. I don't really get it. And my suggestion has been go and do Python, go and do Ruby, go and do PHP, do all the free language courses on there. And eventually you'll just start to stop seeing them at a language and start just thinking about how does this relate to what I already know? And how can I kind of put all these pieces together?
Yeah, I did literally every language on Codecademy before I started like to do other stuff, and that really helped a lot because like there are some concepts that are maybe like syntactically more common in like Ruby or Python, but that still exists in JavaScript, and maybe having that understanding from another language will help you pick something up that's like just syntactically weirder or less idiomatic in your language.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, man. I'm so glad things are working out. And like I knew they were. I knew they were going to work out because you were when we had our last interview, you were in the grind, and like I could see it. You're like, look, man, I graduated yesterday. I'm doing an interview today. I'm in the kitchen. I was like, this guy's going to make it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's what it's about. If you work hard and you put in the time, that'll come through in an interview, and you're going to get the job. I have faith in all 26 of you right now. Yeah. Things will be good.
All right. Well, thank you again, man. I hope that you stay active on your blog. I really do. I like when people are doing the social media and doing kind of less coding, more creative coding. I like that stuff.
Cool. All right, Dylan, you have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you again. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you're interested in coding bootcamp, check out devmountain.com, where housing is included in your price of tuition. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.